TTN.LIVE. We're at New York NFT conference, and I'm here today with
Ed Prado with RAIR Tech, soon to be RAIR Protocol.
Okay, and so what brings you here today, Rick?
So I'm excited. We have been in this space for about 4 years now.
4 years, okay.
And we were one of the innovators in the NFT space as far as attaching rights, digital rights management to an NFT. So we started, that's where we cut our teeth. And then last year, we forward integrated, we created the ability to add a marketplace to that. So ultimately, our platform is anything from the minting of an NFT, the royalties management, the metadata, the entire turnkey, sort of your ability to create your own marketplace.
Right.
And then we infuse that with DRM, so you can cast movies, videos, music, podcasts into the NFT and have this very tightly integrated experience.
Right. So because you're using DRM, does that allow you to integrate better with some of the legacy producers out there like Sony and Apple and stuff like that?
I think that the legacy producers are excited. They're intrigued by that. We have all of the media is actually archived with Google right now. They're a cloud provider. And we have DMCA, ability to do a DMCA takedown if there's some copyright infringement, and that's a big thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But ultimately, what we've learned in our journey in these 4 years is that as much as we've worked, and I think the whole space is learning this, as much as we've innovated, as much as we've made things easier, enterprises just aren't quite there.
Correct.
And I've surmised that there's a couple reasons for this, and I think that the biggest is enterprises have billions of dollars, and for them, anything that's new is a big risk. And I think for them to kind of dip their toe into the pool, they need to be able to solve a gargantuan problem that would monetize immediately. And right now, Web3 is exciting. It lets you do some things, but it's not the solve, the everything solved thing. That's part of it. The other part is Web3 has been really difficult to deal with. It's filled with friction.
Friction, changes, new interfaces, new ideologies, new technology, new security. But it's there to help change the future for us, because when you think about Web 1, when we started back in the early 80s and the 90s, it was like chaos. You know, all of us said, and you were there just like I was, I'm never going to put my credit card online.
Absolutely, that was where I lived it.
What do? We don't even use credit cards anymore. It's all in the cloud, it's all digital, and it's part of our everyday lives. What I hear that you're doing is you're actually integrating with the legacy companies and not just trying to pull the legacy companies into a new technology.
Right, we had to make the real bold move, and we made this decision about a month ago, that in order to really approach and be meaningful to these enterprises, we need to go open source. We need to basically open ourselves up and show all these millions of lines of code that we've developed and make them available. And that's for a couple reasons. One, I think there's a real conflict when it's all about being transparent, yet most of the dApps that have been built are a black box.
So box owner by one person or group, and they want to control the wall garden again.
Exactly, with little transparency. We're basically taking new tech and fitting it into a box of Web 2, like we want to be a Google or an Apple. That's really not the promise here. The promise is we're decentralized, we're open, we can work with Web 2 companies in that they can see the code and build into it. And I really think that philosophically, once you kind of transition and wrap your head around that, because for guys our age, the open source, and maybe because you've been in tech, but for me, a Wall Street veteran, like to open source and give stuff away is very counterintuitive.
Yes, it is.
However, I believe it's the only way to scale.
It is.
I really do.
To me, I've been watching or been around the open source community since I was a kid. And the thought is when we talk about open source, it's all about sharing knowledge. And the internet was about sharing knowledge. And then it became about closed knowledge. And now we're in Web 3 and it's going right back to shared knowledge. It's like client server versus client server, thin client, fat client. And here we are with security, and it was first centralized with DRM, and now it's going to go decentralized. But I still like what you said earlier, where your technology is bringing that DRM into the decentralization, so that not only the centralized organizations that have had the power for a long time still have their control, but now the actual creator has control too. They have ownership and something that identifies their assets that connects back to them. And that'll give them the ability to go like, hey, when I die, my grandchildren, my next, their next level of or legacy will still own that particular technology.
Yeah, the idea of provenance, and we call it like etching something in stone. That is one of Web3's biggest promises. Yes. You can put it on the blockchain, it lives on forever. Yes. It can show you who's bought it, who's touched it, who issued it. And in this world of AI, where everything is going to be a deep fake, that's important.
Yes.
We've talked to Sony, Paramount, United. They're all very concerned about AI engines replicating some of their IP and then basically promoting it as if it were theirs.
Right.
Like, blockchain's pretty much the only thing that can secure that IP. So that's definitely coming, but to do that, you've got to be open. And the other part that I think we gain in going open is that we gain a developer community.
Right.
This is a foot race, and I think that the greatest way to expand
is
horizontally is getting open and giving programmers the opportunity to jump on board and work on a bounty sort of token reward system.
And it's what the industry needs.
Right.
Right. Everybody came in and tried to close it. Now we need that open, and that opening is helped a lot of different organizations like OpenAI, Unreal. They have the tune of 400 million, users, and that was from open sourcing. And that basically opened up the world of developers to say, hey, now I have something that I can use. Companies like when I was with General Motors, we looked at it and we brought it in. And we changed our entire iterative design process with that. And so looking at your technology, we'll be able to do the same thing with taking our DRM, or not just our DRM, the things that we have that are protected today, but over to a blockchain. So I like it.
It's interesting too. We've been testing and socializing the idea, obviously. This is a big move for us.
Okay.
And in talking to people, you note immediately, before they felt like you were selling to them, like, oh, you're a SaaS platform. Yeah, you're selling to me.
Yeah.
Now you tell them we're open source and we're trying to make Web3 a reality.
Right.
Then all of a sudden you're a community.
Correct.
And that little shift is really important because you get people excited and actually able to kind of engage with you versus, oh, they're going to try to sell me this expensive box.
Right, absolutely. So here we are at NFT NYC at attn.live, and I'm Tim. And
at Prado, RAIR Technologies, soon to be RAIR Protocol. And thank you, Tim. You were so great.
Thank you, Ed.
Awesome.
You were better than me. How's that?
All righty.